Hi, today we are doing the first demo in our Xenos demo series on ECM migration. The Xenos ECM migration practice enables organizations to consolidate multiple IDARs and ECM repositories and convert legacy content from many disparate formats to contemporary systems. Using the Xenos migration framework, we have successfully helped some of the largest organizations globally to migrate between totally different ECM platforms, or even just to upgrade to newer versions of their ECM software. The Xenos migration framework is simple to execute and, most importantly, it provides a complete audit of all processing, which not only gives you the ability to measure progress, but also to get certainty that all valuable document content that we say we have migrated really has been migrated. In this demo, we will be migrating from a legacy ECM system to FileNet P8. As many of our clients are financial institutions, we will be showing this process using a banking statement. First, let's take a look at our migration framework, called the Xenos Detail Methodology. After a discovery phase to understand the business requirements, we'll then execute 6 steps: download, extract, transform, audit, index, and load. As you can see, audit is a continuous process in all stages of our migration framework. Today, we will look at the first 3 steps in more detail. As in our previous demos, we're going to use Xenos Developer Studio to help us play out the migration scenario. Xenos Developer Studio is a graphical user interface for creating and configuring process flows, transformations, and components within the Xenos Enterprise server. Here is our migration framework process flow. As you can see on the left, we have a few pre-built migration process flows to execute some of the most common migration steps for popular ECM products on the market. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can see our palette of pre-built components, which we can easily drag onto process flows to use in migrations. These include, but are not limited to, transform technologies, as well as components which help us connect to some of the most current and legacy ECM systems. At the start of every migration engagement, we perform what we call a discovery. In this discovery phase for Best Bank, we found that the source system is slow and sluggish, and for licensing reasons, it's only accessed by internal users. This has been an issue with the business who wants to provide online access to its statements to both internal and external customers. In addition, the system is from a legacy ECM vendor, and maintenance costs for this software are ever increasing. Aside from these problems, there are other technical issues. The documents are locked in the system's database in a proprietary format, and the vendor wants to charge huge sums of money to develop custom scripts and code to get the content out. All the documents are in PDF, which is great for viewing the content. However, the archive is huge and some of their older documents don't view properly in recent versions of Adobe Reader. Best Bank thinks they could get some real value by transforming the documents into a different format, something less prone to change and more efficient to store. Finally, since they've had this system installed, Best Bank has really changed. They can only search for content using very few metadata fields, so they'd like to add more index fields to improve search and retrieval times. Overall, this system has such a bad reputation, Best Bank calls it Grandad's Archive. The business is very sensitive about the documents inside Grandad's Archive, so we will be using our audit database to track every document we migrate and every action we perform to these documents. Using this SQL client, we can see some of the audit database tables. Xenos Enterprise Server, a powerful content processing engine, has the capability to connect to your ECM system through its APIs or directly to its backend databases and file stores. We can also integrate with any other systems at the same time to merge external information as part of the migration process. The first step of our migration is to divide your documents into archive sets. This allows you to prioritize different groups of documents or categorize documents based on format, document class, etc. Doing this also allows us to migrate several archive sets in parallel. Because of the nature of this ECM system, we are going to download the content directly from its backend database. To do this, we will use our Xenos Transformation Services for Data, or TS for Data. Let's have a look at how we do it. Using wizards, I'll quickly configure a component to connect to the database and download the content as XML to disk. I can do this very easily using TS for Data. Once I select the input format as JDBC, I can provide database parameters and select the tables with my source data, all using our easy-to-use Xenos Developer Studio GUI. We want the output as XML, Again, I don't need to write any code here. Using drag and drop, I have defined a simple XML structure. As I'm using a GUI designer tool, I can rapidly change the structure, add counters, etc. I can add filters to the input as well, so I only extract the correct archive set. Now, let's look at the next stage of the migration. Best Bank has decided to use AFP, so let's use the Developer Studio again, but this time to define a document transformation. We'll use the wizard to walk through the configuration. We'll accept the defaults for the font mapping for now. We know the input is PDF. For output, we're going to create AFP. Let's test the migration using the flows I built previously. The process is running, and we can see the output here. During download, we created an XML dump of documents and metadata. During extract, we decoded the document from the proprietary format within the XML into PDF format. During transform, the documents became AFP format, and in addition, we created an index file containing new and old indices, but I'll explain more about that in our next demo. Remember, because we used our migration framework, we performed an audit automatically at every stage. Let's have a look at our audit database. As you can see, the summary table now shows that for this archive set, we performed 3 phases of our migration. If we examine the documents table in detail, you can also see that 15 documents were downloaded, but only 14 were extracted and transformed. Our framework detected there was an error in one of the documents we had to migrate. It recorded details of the problem, but successfully continued processing all other documents. That brings us to the end of this demo. We've shown you how Xenos technology delivers a migration framework which can be adapted to execute migrations of different types of ECM systems. We've also shown you how to transform structured and semi-structured content such as XML, database tables and views, as well as documents. In this migration, we rapidly built process flows tailored to our customer environment without writing any code, just configuring in the Xenos Developer Studio GUI tool. We'll continue this migration in the next 2 demos. Like what you saw or have any questions, feel free to email me skazi@actuate.com, visit the Xenos blog, or follow us on Twitter for our latest updates and news.